In the grand palace of Alindra, where silver towers touched the glowing clouds, a royal ceremony was about to begin. The Blue Queen, Seraphina, stood tall before the mirror gate, a portal that could reveal the true heart of any being. Her beauty was beyond human imagination. Her eyes shone like twin stars, and her gown shimmered with living light that pulsed softly with every heartbeat. Yet, despite her beauty, her heart was heavy. For years, princes from across the galaxy had come to Alindra to pass her royal test. The one who passed would rule beside her, not by blood, but by heart. But no one ever succeeded. Each prince, dressed in golden armor, bowed before her and swore eternal loyalty. Yet when they stood before the mirror gate, the truth was always the same. Their reflections showed greed, pride, or fear. Some wanted her power, some wanted her beauty, but none truly saw her. "Another one fails," whispered the palace watchers, as the latest prince's reflection cracked into shards of light and vanished. The queen sighed softly. "They see my crown but not my soul," she said. The hall fell silent, her words echoing through the endless marble walls. Far below the shining floors, in the lowest level of the palace, a young human named Eli Turner mopped the marble corridors. He was no prince. He wasn't even from Alindra. He was just a janitor sent from Earth to help clean the palace after the royal tests. No one noticed him, and he liked it that way. But this morning felt different. As he worked, he heard whispers above, talk of the queen's sadness, of her curse, and of a final test to come. Upstairs, Seraphina stood before the council. "The mirror grows weaker," said Lord Kale, an old alien with silver skin. "If no one passes today, the heart of Alindra may fade forever." Seraphina closed her eyes. The crystal crown on her head dimmed slightly. "Then let the final test begin," she said softly. The great doors opened. The last prince entered, tall, proud, wrapped in violet silk. His voice was smooth as he spoke. "My queen, I will not fail you." The hall brightened as he stepped toward the mirror gate. The crystal surface rippled like water, reflecting his confident smile. But then something strange happened. The mirror flickered, and instead of showing his reflection, it showed a storm. Inside the storm were shadows of his past, lies, betrayals, pride. The prince's face turned pale. A moment later, the mirror shattered into 1,000 glowing shards. The hall gasped. The test had ended in failure again. Seraphina turned away, her heart sinking. "Enough," she whispered. "No one is worthy." But as the shards floated down like silver dust, one piece landed near the floor, right where Eli was cleaning. The light from it glowed brightly against his broom. He looked up, confused, as the piece pulsed with warmth. Then the queen's voice echoed. "Who remains in the hall?" "Eli Protse." The guards looked around but saw no one of rank. "Just the cleaner, your majesty," one said. Seraphina's eyes narrowed. "Bring him forward." The guards hesitated. "But my queen, he's just a human worker." "Bring him," she repeated, her voice calm but filled with command. Eli's heart raced as he was led up the marble steps. The nobles whispered in disbelief. The queen, tall and radiant, looked down at him. For a long moment neither spoke. Then slowly, she extended her glowing hand. "Step into the mirror, human," she said. "Eli Blinker." "Me? I don't even know what this is." "Then you are already different," she said quietly. The hall grew silent. Everyone watched as Eli stepped forward. The broken mirror reformed before him, glowing once more. The light wrapped around his body, and his reflection appeared. Calm, honest, afraid, but pure. The queen's eyes widened. The mirror did not shatter. Instead, it shone brighter than ever before. The council gasped. The air hummed. The energy of the palace shifted. Seraphina looked at the reflection, then at him. And for the first time in centuries she smiled. "You," she whispered. The word echoed across the hall, soft yet powerful. The janitor, the forgotten human, had done what no prince could. But deep in the shadows of the hall, someone watched. Someone who was not pleased that a mere human had passed the test. The grand hall of Alindra was silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the human standing before the glowing mirror. The queen's voice still echoed in their minds. "You." No one could believe what had just happened. Dozens of royal princes from across galaxies had failed the test, but a human janitor had passed? The council members whispered among themselves. This is madness. He is not royal blood. He cannot be chosen. But the Queen Seraphina raised her hand and the room fell silent again. Her expression was calm, but her eyes shimmered with mystery. The mirror of truth has spoken, she said softly. It chooses not by crown but by heart. Eli stood frozen, gripping his mop like a sword. His face was pale, his heart racing. He hadn't done anything special. He had only stepped forward because she asked him to. I don't understand, he stammered. I'm just a worker. I clean floors. Seraphina took a slow step toward him. The blue light from her gown cast a soft glow over his face. And yet the mirror saw what others could not, she said. It saw honesty, humility, and courage. Eli blinked, unsure if this was a dream or some strange alien joke. Around him, the nobles looked angry. The air grew tense. Then from the shadows a voice spoke, deep and cold. This is a mistake. Everyone turned. It was Lord Kale, the Queen's most trusted advisor. His silver skin shimmered under the torchlight. Your Majesty, he said, bowing slightly. The mirror may be broken. A human cannot carry Alindra's bond. Seraphina's eyes narrowed. The mirror does not break, she replied. It reveals. Lord Kale's smile was thin. Then perhaps it revealed a danger. A wave of unease moved through the hall. Eli looked around nervously. He didn't like the way the alien lord was staring at him, as if he were some kind of threat. Before anyone could speak again, the floor beneath the mirror began to glow brighter. Strange symbols appeared, spinning in circles of light. The mirror trembled, its surface rippling like water. What's happening? Eli asked, stepping back. The bond begins, Seraphina said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes showed worry. The one who passes must face the next test alone. Wait, what test? Eli shouted, but before he could move, the light burst outward. The hall disappeared. He found himself standing in a vast empty field under a dark blue sky filled with 2 moons. The wind howled softly. He was alone. Where am I? He whispered. Then he heard her voice, soft and distant, echoing through the air. This is the realm of truth. What you fear most will come to find you. Eli turned in every direction. Queen Seraphina? But there was no answer, only the sound of footsteps behind him. He spun around and froze. A shadowy figure stood in the mist. It looked like him, but darker. Its eyes glowed red, its smile was cruel. Who are you? Eli asked. I'm you, the figure said. The part that hides behind the mop, afraid to matter. Eli's heart pounded. You're not real. The shadow laughed. You think kindness makes you strong? It makes you weak. Look around. No one wants a janitor to be a hero. Eli stepped back. Maybe not, he said softly, but I didn't ask to be one. The shadow lunged at him. Eli fell, rolling on the glowing ground. He grabbed a broken stick nearby, thin and weak, but it was something. When the shadow attacked again, he swung. The stick glowed with a strange light, striking the creature in the chest. The shadow screamed and dissolved into dust. The light faded. The wind stopped. A soft voice whispered again. You faced your truth. You did not run. The mirror accepts your courage. Then everything turned white. When Eli opened his eyes, he was back in the hall. Everyone stared in shock. The queen stood close to him, her hand glowing over his heart. He has passed the second trial, she said quietly. The council gasped. Even Lord Kale looked stunned. But how? One noble asked. By facing his own fear, Seraphina replied. Only those who conquer themselves can wield true light. Eli stood there, breathing hard. I don't know what just happened, he said. But I think I saw myself. Seraphina smiled softly. And now so have I. The hall filled with murmurs again, half in awe, half in anger. The queen looked at the crowd. Prepare the throne chamber, she ordered. The human will complete the final stage tomorrow. Lord Kale bowed, but his eyes burned with hidden rage. As he turned away, a faint shadow flickered behind him, something dark and ancient. Eli didn't notice. He was too tired and confused. But deep down, A feeling grew inside him, something that whispered this was only the beginning. Night fell over the shining towers of Alindra. The palace glowed softly under the twin moons, but inside the royal walls, silence ruled. Servants whispered nervously about the day's events, about the human who passed the queen's sacred test. Eli couldn't sleep. He sat on the edge of a silver bed in a guest room he didn't belong in, staring at the glowing ceiling. The air felt heavy. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that dark version of himself, the one that had called him weak. "How did I even get here?" he whispered to himself. "I was just mopping floors yesterday." A gentle knock broke the silence. The door opened slowly, and Queen Seraphina stepped inside. Her gown shimmered like moonlight, and her eyes carried both kindness and sorrow. "You should rest, Eli," she said softly. "Tomorrow the final test begins." He stood quickly. "Your Majesty, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I'm not a prince, not a hero. I'm just a janitor from Earth." Seraphina smiled faintly. "Perhaps that is why the mirror chose you." Eli frowned. "I don't understand." She walked closer, her steps silent on the marble floor. "Every prince came here with pride," she explained. "They wanted power, glory, or fame. But you came with nothing. No title, no wish for reward. Sometimes, emptiness allows the heart to be pure." Her words calmed him, but only for a moment. "And what happens if I fail the final test?" he asked quietly. Her smile faded. "Then Alindra will fade with it." Before he could ask more, a sound echoed from outside. A deep, distant rumble, like thunder trapped inside the palace. Seraphina's eyes widened. "He's here." "Who?" Eli asked. But she didn't answer. She turned and hurried out of the room. Eli followed. They moved through tall halls filled with blue firelight until they reached the throne chamber. The doors were half open, and voices came from inside. Lord Kale stood near the glowing throne, his silver robes flickering with strange shadows. Around him, dark smoke coiled like living snakes. "You break the ancient order, my queen," Kale said, his voice smooth but dangerous. "The crown was meant for royal blood, not for this creature." Elias stomachtaitened. Seraphina's voice was calm. "The mirror has chosen. You know the law of Alindra. We do not question the light." Kale laughed softly. "The light?" His eyes turned black for a moment. "The light is dying, Seraphina, because you are too weak to see the truth." Dark energy burst from his hands, cracking the marble floor. The guards drew their weapons, but the smoke spread fast, swallowing them whole. Eli ducked behind a pillar as the queen raised her hand, summoning a shield of bright blue energy. The light clashed with the darkness, filling the hall with thunder and fire. "You were my advisor," she shouted. "You swore to protect Alindra." Kale's face twisted. "I swore to protect its power. And you wasted on a human." He waved his arm, and a spear of dark energy shot toward her. The queen blocked it, but the force threw her backward. Her crown fell, rolling across the floor, stopping right at Eli's feet. He stared at it, his hands shaking. The glow from the crown pulsed, calling to him. "Take it!" Seraphina cried. "The light responds to the chosen one." Eli hesitated. I can't." Kale turned his gaze on him, eyes like burning coals. "Ah, the janitor. The queen's little mistake." Dark smoke coiled toward Eli like a living beast. He grabbed the crown without thinking. The moment his fingers touched it, a wave of blue energy exploded from his chest. The smoke vanished in an instant. Eli fell to his knees, breathing hard. The crown glowed in his hands, alive with power he couldn't understand. Kale stumbled back, shocked. "Impossible, you're human." Seraphina stood again, her eyes wide. "He carries the heartlight," she whispered. "The same power that built Alindra." The hall trembled. The palace lights flickered as if the very world was responding to his heartbeat. Kale snarled. "Then I'll take it from him." He raised his arms, gathering all the darkness around him. Shadows twisted into a storm. But before he could strike, Seraphina stepped between them. "You will not harm him," she said firmly. Kale smirked. "Then you will fall with him." The darkness exploded. The floor cracked open, light and shadow colliding in a roar. Eli shouted as everything around him vanished in blinding light. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer in the palace. He was standing in a vast, ruined landscape, broken towers, floating stones, a shattered sky. Seraphina was beside him, breathing hard. Her gown was torn, and her light was dim. "Where are we?" he asked. "The between," she whispered. "The space between worlds. Kale has trapped us here." Eli looked around, frightened. "Can we get back?" She nodded slowly. "Only if you finish the final test." He swallowed hard. "What test?" Seraphina looked at him, her eyes soft but sad. "The test of sacrifice," she said. "The one no prince ever dared to face." The between was a strange place, a world made of broken stars and floating ruins. The ground glowed faintly under Eli's shoes, and every breath he took felt heavier, colder. The sky above him was torn open like cracked glass, revealing flashes of lightning that had no sound. Eli turned slowly, taking in the endless emptiness. "This doesn't look like a test," he muttered. "It looks like a nightmare." Beside him, Queen Seraphina stood tall, though her glow had dimmed. The crystals on her gown flickered weakly, as if her strength was fading with every moment they stayed there. "It is both," she said quietly. "A test and a nightmare. This place shows truth through pain." Eli frowned. "Then what am I supposed to do? There's nothing here." Seraphina looked at him sadly. "The test of sacrifice doesn't reveal itself until the heart is ready." Her expression softened. "The mirror chose you for a reason, Eli. You may not believe it yet, but Alindra's light does." He sighed and looked down. "If that's true, then I wish it had chosen someone stronger." Before Seraphina could answer, the ground trembled. Cracks of dark energy split the glowing earth. The wind howled through the ruins. Eli stumbled back. "What now?" From the shadows between the floating stones, a voice spoke, deep, cruel, and familiar. "Running away already, human?" Eli's eyes widened. "Kale." The silver-skinned lord stepped out of the darkness, his eyes now fully black, his body surrounded by swirling smoke. The mark of corruption covered half his face, glowing like fire. "You cannot hide from the between," Kale said with a sneer. "This realm feeds on fear and weakness. It belongs to me now." Seraphina raised her hand, summoning a shield of blue light, but it flickered weakly. Kale laughed. "Your power fades, my queen. The between drains your light. Soon you'll be nothing but dust." Eli moved closer to her, trying to help her stand. "What do you want from us?" Kale's eyes turned toward Eli. "From you? Nothing. You're an accident. A human who wandered into the wrong story. But her," he pointed at Seraphina. "She carries the heartlight. And with it, I can rebuild Alindra in my image." Eli clenched his fists. "You'll have to go through me first." Kale smirked. "How noble. And how foolish." He raised his hand. The air twisted, forming black tendrils that shot toward Eli. They wrapped around his arms and legs, lifting him off the ground. Eli strukled, musping. The tendrils burned like fire. Seraphina cried out, but her power was too weak to stop it. "Let him go." Kale turned toward her. "Tell me, Seraphina. You wish to save him. Then show me how much he's worth to you." He waved his hand, and a shimmering gate appeared behind her, a mirror made of light and shadow. "One of you must stay here forever to open the path home," Kale said. "Only one can return to the living world." Eli's heart pounded. "No, no, don't listen to him." Seraphina's eyes filled with tears. She knew the rule of the between. Only one soul could pass through the gate. "You have a choice, my queen," Kale said softly. "Save your kingdom, or save your human." The tendrils tightened around Eli. He could barely breathe. "Don't sacrifice yourself," he managed to say. "You're the queen. They need you." Seraphina stepped closer to him. Her hand glowed faintly as she touched his face. "And who will remind them what kindness is if I leave you behind?" He shook his head weakly. "Please don't." She smiled sadly. "The mirror didn't choose you to die, Eli. It chose you to see." With that, she turned toward Kale. Her body began to glow brighter, brighter than before. The heartlight pulsed from within her chest. The between itself trembled. Kale's eyes widened. "What are you doing?" Seraphina's voice echoed across the realm. "Ending the curse." She placed her hand over her heart, then pressed it against Eli's chest. A surge of light burst between them, blinding and warm. The tendrils vanished instantly, and Kale was thrown back, screaming as his shadows burned away. "No," he shouted, his voice fading. "You can't destroy me." But he was gone. Eli fell to the ground, gasping for air. The glow around Seraphina dimmed until it was almost gone. She knelt beside him, her face pale. "You saved us," he whispered. She smiled weakly. "Not yet. You must return to finish what I started." He shook his head. "Come with me." She touched his cheek. "The gate needs a soul to remain open. That is the law of the between." Tears filled his eyes. "No. There has to be another way." Seraphina leaned closer. "There always is, Eli. It's just not always the one we want." Her hand glowed one last time as she placed it over his heart. "Take the heartlight," she whispered. "Protect it. Protect them all." The light consumed everything. When Eli opened his eyes again, he was lying on the marble floor of the palace. The hall was quiet. The mirror stood whole once more, glowing softly. But Seraphina was gone. He looked at his hands. They glowed faintly with blue light. The heart light was inside him now. And somewhere, deep within the mirror's reflection, he thought he saw her smiling. Eli woke to silence. The once broken throne hall of Alindra was still, bathed in soft blue light. Dust sparkled in the air like frozen stars. He sat up slowly, breathing hard, his thoughts spinning. Seraphina was gone. The last thing he remembered was her hand against his chest, the warmth of her light flooding through him. And then nothing but white. Now the mirror stood whole and calm, glowing faintly like a heartbeat. When Eli looked into it, he saw his reflection, but it wasn't the same. His eyes shimmered faintly with blue light, and faint patterns like crystal veins ran across his forearms. He pressed a hand to his chest. It pulsed softly under his skin. "The heartlight. Eli stod fakili. She gave it to me," he whispered. "She stayed behind." His chest ached, not from pain, but from a feeling too heavy to explain. Sadness, gratitude, and something else, purpose. Footsteps echoed in the distance. The great doors opened, and a group of council members rushed in, followed by guards. Their leader, Lord Kale's second-in-command, a tall alien woman named Vera, froze when she saw him. "The human lives," she said in shock. "But where is the queen?" Eli swallowed hard. "She didn't make it. She saved me. Saved all of us." The room filled with whispers, disbelief, sorrow, and fear. "Without her, the throne cannot hold the light," Vera said. "Alindra will fade." Eli shook his head. "No. The light isn't gone. She gave it to me." The council turned toward him. Their expressions hardened. "That's impossible," one of them said. "A human cannot hold the heartlight. It would destroy you." Eli lifted his hand. A faint glow spread from his palm, gentle, pure, steady. "It hasn't destroyed me," he said quietly. "It's part of me now." The room fell silent. But in that silence came a low hum, the sound of the palace awakening. The floor beneath their feet glowed brighter. The mirror shone again, and the pillars flickered with new life. "The queen's energy," Vera whispered. "It's flowing through the palace." Eli looked around. "She told me to protect it. That's all I know." Before anyone could speak again, the air trembled. A strange vibration shook the hall, deep and powerful, like thunder coming from beneath the city. "What was that?" Eli asked. A guard ran in, out of breath. "My lady, there's movement under the city. The crystal cores are destabilizing." Vera's face turned pale. "The heartlight isn't settling. It's searching for balance." Eli clenched his fists. "Then I have to fix it." "You," one of the nobles scoffed. "You're not the queen. You don't even understand our world." He met their gaze steadily. "You're right. I don't. But I know what she wanted. To save you. And I won't let what she died for fall apart." Without waiting for permission, Eli turned and ran toward the central tower. Guards called after him, but he didn't stop. He didn't have a plan, only a feeling. The same feeling that told him to step into the mirror, that told him to trust her. The tower doors opened on their own as he approached. Inside, a huge crystal heart floated above a pool of light. It pulsed weakly, struggling to stay alive. Cracks of darkness ran across its surface. This must be it, he whispered. The heart of Alindra. The ground shook again. Fractures spread through the floor. Blue lightning burst from the crystal, striking the walls. Eli shielded his face. Come on, hold together. He stepped forward slowly. As he did, the glow on his hands grew stronger, brighter, until it matched the pulse of the crystal. Eli, a voice whispered. He froze. Seraphina? The voice came from everywhere, soft, distant, but real. The heartlight answers to you now. But it must be guided. You must give it what it needs. What does it need? He asked desperately. Trust, she said. And sacrifice. The word made his chest tighten. I already lost you. What else can I give? There was no answer, only light. Eli took a deep breath. All right, he said quietly. Then I'll do this my way. He stepped into the pool of light. The moment he touched it, pain shot through his body, like fire and ice at the same time. The crystal trembled violently. Images flashed before his eyes. The queen, the mirror, the between, her final smile. Come on, he shouted, forcing his hands onto the crystal's surface. If this thing feeds on the heart, then take mine. A blinding light exploded through the tower. The walls cracked, but instead of breaking, they healed, silver veins spreading through the marble like living roots. Outside, the entire city began to glow. The towers relit, the sky cleared, and the air shimmered with new life. Alindra was alive again. When the light finally faded, Eli collapsed to his knees. The crystal heart now shone steady and whole, glowing softly. The door burst open. Vera and the guards rushed in. They stopped when they saw him, still breathing, but faintly glowing with the same light as the crystal. He did it, Vera whispered. The city lives. Eli looked up weakly. Not me, he said. Us. She's still here in all of this. The guards bowed their heads. Even Vera knelt. For the first time since the queen's passing, Alindra was at peace, but Eli could feel something stirring deep within the heartlight. A memory, a voice, something unfinished. Seraphina's last words echoed in his mind. The light will test you one final time. Eli looked toward the horizon, where a faint storm gathered once more. He knew this peace wouldn't last. For 3 days, Alindra glowed brighter than ever. The towers shimmered like stars, and the air was filled with soft music, the sound of energy returning to life. But even in all that light, Eli felt the storm growing inside him. He could sense it, a vibration deep within his chest, faint at first, then stronger each day. The heartlight pulsed like a second heartbeat. It wasn't painful, but it was powerful, like something trying to speak. Eli spent hours walking through the restored halls, talking to himself just to stay calm. You fixed the city, he told himself. You should be happy. But happiness didn't come. Every time he looked at the glowing mirrors or the royal gardens, he thought of her, Queen Seraphina. Her laughter, her calm, the way she had said you like it meant something. He missed her more than he understood. Vera entered the hall that morning, her silver armor gleaming. Eli, she said, the council wishes to see you. He nodded, though his mind was elsewhere. About what? They say the heartlight has changed you, she said carefully. And they are afraid. Eli froned. Afraid of what? That your human body cannot hold it forever. They think it will consume you, and destroy Alindra with you. Her words hit him like cold water. So they want to get rid of me? She hesitated. They want to protect the city. But yes, they will ask you to give up the heartlight. Eli looked down at his glowing hands. I can't. It's not something I can just turn off. I know, Vera said softly. That's why I came to warn you. Before they could speak further, a deep rumble echoed through the palace. The floor vibrated, and blue light flashed across the walls. Eli stackered. The storm, he whispered. It's here. Outside, the sky darkened again. Lightning twisted between the towers, turning gold and black. The air grew cold and sharp. Vera drew her weapon. The cores are reacting. The heartlight is unstable again. Eli clutched his chest, feeling the pulse inside him racing. The voice that had been silent for days now spoke clearly, Seraphina's voice. Eli. He froze. Seraphina? Vera looked at him confused. Who are you talking to? He didn't answer. Her voice filled his mind. The storm isn't from the city. It's from me. My power still lives in the between. It's trying to return. Eli's breath caught. Then what do I do? You must face it, she said, or it will destroy what we saved. The light from his chest burst outward. Energy surrounded him, lifting him off the floor. The palace vanished in a flash. He found himself once again standing in the between. The realm of broken stars and endless space. The wind howled like it remembered his name. In the distance a shape moved, tall, elegant, glowing blue. Seraphina, he whispered. She appeared before him, her form half-transparent, her eyes filled with light and sorrow. You shouldn't have come, she said gently. The heart light should have anchored you to your world. I didn't come, he said. It brought me. Her expression softened. Then it means the final truth calls to you. Eli stepped closer. Why didn't you tell me? That the heart light wasn't just power, that it was you. She looked away. Because it is more than me. It is all of Alindra's spirit. When I gave it to you, I gave you everything, my memories, my strength, my life. But now that bond pulls both our worlds together. If we do not balance it, both will break. Eli's eyes widened. Then let me give it back. She shook her head sadly. It cannot return. You carry it now. The only way to save both worlds is to release its full light, but doing so will end your life. He went silent. You're saying, I have to die. She stepped closer, her voice trembling. You were never meant to bear it this long. You've already done more than I ever dreamed. But every light has a cost, Eli. He looked at her, the woman who had trusted him, chosen him when no one else had. You think I'm afraid of dying? He said quietly. I was afraid of not mattering. You made me matter. Tears glimmered in her eyes. You mattered before I ever saw you. The storm grew louder. Energy cracked through the sky. Seraphina reached out her hand. You must let go, Eli. He hesitated, then took her hand. The moment he did, the heart light in his chest exploded with color, blue, gold, white. The between filled with pure radiance. He felt pain but also peace, like every heartbeat was a promise being fulfilled. The energy rushed through him, spreading across the skies, across Alindra, across the stars. The storm calmed. The cracks in the sky sealed. The light returned to balance. As everything quieted, Seraphina's figure grew brighter. You've done it, she whispered. The heart light is free. Eli smiled weakly. Guess. I finally passed the test. She smiled too, the same gentle smile he'd never forget. You did, Eli. You did what no prince ever could. The light began to fade. Eli's body shimmered, dissolving into golden dust. Thank you, he said softly. For what? She asked. For seeing me. The between glowed one last time. And then silence. When Alindra's sky cleared, the people looked up to see a new star shining above their city, brighter than all the rest. Vera stood on the balcony, looking at it. She smiled sadly. He did it, she whispered. The janitor saved the Queen's world. And somewhere in that endless light, two souls shone together, one of human heart, and one of alien grace. Years passed after the storm ended. The people of Alindra rebuilt their world under a calm, glowing sky. The towers stood tall again, shining like silver mountains, and the rivers of light flowed peacefully through the city. But even in all that beauty, one thing was missing. The quiet sound of footsteps that used to echo in the palace halls. Eli, the human janitor who had come from another world, was gone. Yet his presence never truly faded. Every night, the Queen's tower glowed faintly golden, as if remembering him. The guards would sometimes whisper, "The light watches us." And deep down they believed it. Vera became the High Protector of Alindra, leading the council with wisdom. She never forgot the man who had come with no title, no crown, only a mop, a kind heart, and courage greater than any prince. One evening, as the sons of Alindra sat behind the crystal domes, Vera stood on the balcony of the royal tower. The twin suns painted the sky in pink and silver light. She looked up at the star, the same one that had appeared the day Eli vanished. "Do you still watch us?" she whispered. "Do you see what you saved?" The wind stirred softly, carrying a faint hum, almost like a voice. Always, it said. She smiled sadly. Then watch over her too. Far beyond the clouds, in the realm of the between, something shimmered. A soft light formed, spinning slowly like dust in sunlight. Out of that light stepped two figures, Eli and Seraphina. But they were no longer flesh and blood. They were beings of energy now, glowing with warmth and peace. Eli looked at his hands. So this is it. I'm really gone. Seraphina smiled. You're not gone. You've just changed. He chuckled softly. You talk like it's easy. It was never easy, she said gently. But you did what no prince or warrior ever could. You brought balance not with strength but with heart. He looked around. The between wasn't dark anymore. It was alive with light, rivers of gold, stars blooming like flowers. It's beautiful, he whispered. It's your doing, she said. The heart light lives because of you. He looked at her, his smile soft and full. You said once that every prince failed your test. What was the test really? Seraphina's expression turned tender. To see beyond the crown. To understand that true worth isn't in power, but in kindness. I waited for someone who could see me, not as a queen, but as a person. Eli looked down. And you chose a janitor. I chose the one who saw me, she replied. And who let me see him. They stood together, hand in hand, surrounded by endless light. Back in Alindra, centuries passed. The city became known across the galaxies as the Heartlight World. Travelers from hundreds of planets came to see the golden star that hung above the city. It never moved, never dimmed. Children were told the story every night. Of a queen who tested princes from 100 worlds. And of the one man who passed her test without even knowing it was one. They called him the human who healed the stars. His story spread through songs, carvings, and holograms. Artists painted him, sometimes with a mop, sometimes with a glowing heart. And always next to him stood the radiant queen. One night, a little alien girl named Lyra stood in front of the golden star and whispered, "Do you think he's real?" Her grandmother smiled. Some stories are too true to fade. Lyra looked up. If he was just a janitor, how did he save everything? Her grandmother looked thoughtful. Because sometimes, the universe doesn't need another prince. It needs someone humble enough to clean its heart. Lyra smiled, her eyes full of wonder. I want to meet someone like that. The grandmother looked up at the glowing star. Maybe one day you will. Meanwhile, far beyond space, deep within the between, Seraphina looked out at the glowing worlds. They remember you, she said softly. Eli Longhead. Good. Maybe now they'll stop stepping on the floors I cleaned. She smiled and leaned closer. You never change. He looked at her, his eyes full of light. Maybe that's a good thing. As they stood together, two eternal souls bound by light, a gentle wind passed, carrying across the stars, across the galaxies, a whisper of their story. Every prince failed her royal test, until she saw a human janitor, and said, You. The light of Alindra never faded again. And somewhere in the quiet hum of the universe, love and humility still echoed, shining brighter than any crown, stronger than any throne. Because the greatest power was never in royalty or war. It was in the heart of a human who dared to care.